What's up guys? Let's get straight into today's video, the top 5 talking points from the French Grand Prix. Okay, today's video is about my top 5 talking points from the French Grand Prix, and what a brilliant French Grand Prix it was, which is something we don't normally say. So without further ado, let's go to number 1 point, and that is decision is everything. This is in reference to the World Championship between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, and how I think that they are both equally brilliant drivers. Nobody's disputing that, and I really think this World Championship is going to come down to decisions on track as opposed to the racing on track. Now, we saw it today, the undercut was powerful. If Hamilton went for the undercut on the second pit stop before Verstappen, we could have seen a completely different result and flipped them round. It really is that close to fine margins, and it's really exciting to see 2 different teamed cars going head to head in the championship. Let's watch this space to see. I think there's going to be a few more of these moments coming where either one of the 2 could win the race, and it is going to be down to a split decision from the team that could either make or break it. I don't know, if we see some rain, it might be first on the wet tyres. Who knows what's going to happen. And that brings me on to my second point for the weekend, which is the power of the number 2 driver. This is obviously in reference to a great race from Sergio Perez, Red Bull's second driver, and it just shows what having that second car in there can do to a whole race for both drivers in the team. Had Sergio not been there, like often happened last year, they would have probably had a free pit stop for Valtteri Bottas. He would have pitted, he would have closed in on Hamilton, put pressure to Verstappen, and gone on through, no worries. Verstappen then couldn't have pitted for giving up position and getting stuck behind Bottas. So it really shows that by having that second car there, with Perez going deep in, Bottas couldn't risk pitting, because if Bottas had pitted, and he could have then given up 3rd place on the podium because he'd have been stuck behind Perez. So it really just adds that curveball element, which is just so desperate for Red Bull. It's what they've needed, and this is why we've seen Mercedes just storm to so many constructors titles 7 years in a row, because they've not got that challenge. They can choose to make. If they pitted Valtteri and it didn't work out, so what? He's still 3rd. But with that second driver in there, it's not as easy anymore. So really is important, and it's really paying off. And we're going to see what happens at the end of the year, but I'm fairly confident Red Bull are going to storm to this constructors title, irrelevant of who takes the driver's title. So it just shows how much they've been missing that these couple of years. And if they had that these couple of years, what would have we seen throughout in the turbo era? I mean, would have Mercedes had the dominance if purely Red Bull had that second driver? I don't know. It's really interesting to see. But yeah, so that's my second point, is how much of an effect Sergio Perez is having on this team. My third talking point from the weekend is yet another 1-2. In Bahrain, we had a Hamilton-Verstappen 1-2. Italy flipped around, Verstappen-Hamilton. Then Portugal and Spain, Hamilton, then Verstappen 1-2 again. In Monaco, we had the little blip for Mercedes. But after that, we had Azerbaijan, where Verstappen and Hamilton had 1-2 again until the issues they experienced. But for most of the race, it was 1-2 between Verstappen and Hamilton. And then this weekend, we've had a Verstappen-Hamilton 1-2 again. And it's not like years past when 1-2 is, 30 seconds down the road. This year, they are seconds within each other at the finishing line. And they are 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And this just goes hand in hand with my previous point, how it could be a moment of madness or a moment of greatness that's going to decide these 2 competitors this year, and to see who will win and come out on top as that driver's champion. It's just brilliant to see, and there's we're 7 races in, 6 of the 7 of them have had Verstappen and Hamilton's as 1-2s flip-flopping, and it's a 23, possibly 22 calendar season. I just can't wait. It's tantalising. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. And these 2 are really going to be putting on a good show for us. My fourth point is going to be on Lando Norris. Enough of Red Bull and Mercedes now. Lando Norris, the point scoring Brit, who is doing a wonderful, wonderful job in that McLaren. Definitely overachieving in my opinion. And he's totally deserving that extended contract that they have given him. I'm on some crunchy grass down here now. Not probably good for the mic audio. Yeah, today he had a poor start off the line. Ricciardo pipped him. He dropped out at the points. But he did a brilliant stint on those tyres. and I thought it was the wrong decision for him. Same with Perez. I thought them going late on, I thought I was really going to hamper their races, but what a drive from Norris, and Perez as well incidentally, but Norris fighting back and somehow scoring brilliant points yet again. You know, I was thinking at one stage, if he gets an 8th or a 9th, that would be a good weekend for him, but no, he has had yet another brilliant weekend. He's the only one who scored points every weekend. I still believe that is the case so far. I think he's the only person to score every weekend, and he's thoroughly deserving 4th in the championship. You know, I know Valtteri had issues in Monaco, but even with that, I think he wouldn't be near Norris this year. Norris is clearly the better driver, and like I say, he's got a great car in the McLaren underneath him, and he's proven it again this weekend. You know, he's pipped Daniel Ricciardo once more, when Ricciardo at one stage looked like he was definitely going to outpace his teammate this race. And Ricciardo did have a brilliant race, and I know they're on different strategies in the end, and he was looking good, but it just, you know, the numbers don't lie, and Norris has beaten him again. And he is really showing that this is his team. He's not the number 2 driver, and he's just doing an absolutely splendid job, and I would not be surprised in the new era from 2022 if we see this kid winning races. Just wonderful to watch, and yeah, watch this space. I reckon he is gonna get a few race wins under his belt in the next few years. Point number 5 is the battle for midfield. That is interesting this year. I tell you what, you had, you know, Aston Martin looking really good. They had a great stint on those hard tyres at the beginning. They looked brilliant. They're earning points now. Vettel a couple of weeks ago getting the podium. Stroll's been very unlucky this year, in my opinion. I think he's been very unlucky, and I won't be surprised if Aston Martin really push on and we see a resurgence of them towards the middle and the end of the year. And you know, they're not quite in the fight yet, but they're definitely thereabouts. McLaren, like I say, they're a cut above the rest, I think. In terms of the midfield teams, I think they are the 3rd best team on the grid. You know, Alonso had a great race today as well. The Alpine car looked good. Ferrari had a bit of an off one, but again, like all these teams, Ferrari, AlphaTauri, again, if they had Tsunoda doing what Gasly's doing, they would be definitely right up there at the top of the mid-team leaderboard. I love it. I don't know. I love a midfield battle. I can't explain it. It was brilliant last year. I would like to have seen the title decide to go to the end, but I was very happy with the midfield battle on the last race. I love the drama of it, and I'm sure we're going to go down to the wire again for these teams. That's massive for these teams to get those 3rd and 4th spots. Massive. So, like I say, we've got Ferrari in it this year, who weren't really in it last year. Ferrari are in it, McLaren, Aston Martin, Alpine, AlphaTauri, they're definitely in it. Gasly is massively overperforming in that AlphaTauri, in my opinion. He is dragging everything out of that car, and he's putting it on the table week in, week out. So yeah, that's again this weekend. It's a great result for racing, really. Like you say, week in, week out, there's a different thing going on. It's not a script that they're following, and it's got a really good season all around. I think it's really interesting from the front all the way to the back, minus the Haas cars. They aren't going to do much this year, are they? But other than that, we have an extremely exciting year. This is some of the most exciting racing we've seen for quite a few years, and yeah, it's just great to watch. So like I say, keep watching this season, because you are delivering and we are watching. So yeah, they're my talking points for this Formula 1 French Grand Prix race weekend. If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe below. Let me know what you'd want from more videos. Like I say, it's quite difficult to get these things filmed and ideas for them. So if you've got any suggestions, let me know down below. And yeah, stay tuned next week, where we'll hopefully have another video with my top talking points after the Styrian Grand Prix.